Think about the last time someone said they married for love like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like that's just what humans do. Like that's always been the case. It hasn't, not even close. For most of human existence, marriage had nothing to do with love, and things actually worked better because of it. Here's what you have to understand first. Your ancestors lived in bands of around 20 to 30 people. That's it. That was your entire world. You hunted together, ate together, and depended on every single person in that group to stay alive. And 30 people in the middle of a massive, unpredictable landscape is not a lot. One bad hunting season, one disease moving through camp, one drought that dries up the river you depend on. Any of those things could end your group entirely. Not weaken it. End it. So the question your ancestors were constantly asking, whether they knew it or not, was how do you make your group harder to destroy? The answer was not love. The answer was allies. But strangers don't just share resources with other strangers. You need a reason to trust someone. You need an obligation between you. A debt. Something that makes turning your back on another group genuinely costly. And the way ancient humans created that obligation between groups was through marriage. Here's how it actually worked. When a man wanted to join a woman from another band, he did not show up with flowers. He showed up and worked. Months of labor for her family, sometimes years. He hunted for them. He contributed to their camp. He proved he was worth something before he took anything. That work created a bond, not just between him and her, but between his entire group and hers. Now, two bands that were strangers had people living inside each other. They had skin in each other's game. If your band was starving, you had someone on the inside of another group who would fight to help you. If something dangerous was approaching, you got a warning before it arrived. You had just transformed strangers into something close enough to family that they would sacrifice for you. That is why marriage existed. Not love, not romance, not butterflies. Infrastructure. Let me give you someone to think about. Let's call her Ara. Ara has never met the man her family has arranged for her to join. His band lives 3 days of walking from hers. She does not love him. She has never had a conversation with him. She does not know what he sounds like when he laughs. But here is what Ara does know. Her band just had 2 failed hunts in a row. The dry season is arriving earlier than expected. The river her group depends on is already lower than it should be at this time of year. Her group needs access to the territory near the other band's water source, or they are going to be in serious trouble before the rains come back. So Ara walks 3 days. She joins a new group. She learns their trails, their seasonal patterns, their food caches, which plants grow where at what time of year. She brings her own knowledge with her, the roots, the patterns, the information her original band accumulated over generations. She contributes fully. She becomes essential. And now, 2 groups that had no reason to trust each other have a living, breathing connection between them. If Ara's original band gets desperate, she is there advocating for them from the inside. If the new band faces a threat, there are 25 more people 1 message away who are now considered kin and are expected to respond. Ara did not marry for love. She married because her group needed to survive the dry season, and it worked. Now multiply Ara by every band across an entire landscape doing the same thing over thousands of years. What you get is a web. A social network that stretches across territories, across groups, that would otherwise have no reason to cooperate. When a famine hits one region, the web redistributes. When a group loses too many hunters, the web sends support. When knowledge about a new food source or a better tool spreads, it travels through those connections. This is what separated ancient humans from every other primate on the planet. Not our brains alone, not our tools alone, our ability to build trust with strangers through obligation. And marriage was one of the primary mechanisms that made that possible. Here is the part that tends to make people uncomfortable. Romantic love as the foundation for marriage is, by any historical standard, an almost brand new idea. For most of recorded human history, building a marriage primarily on romantic feeling was considered naive at best and irresponsible at worst. Not because people did not feel love. They did. Love is not new, but your ancestors understood something that most modern people have completely lost. That love is volatile. It spikes in the beginning. It fades under stress. It disappears under prolonged hardship. And prolonged hardship was not a rare event in the Paleolithic. It was Tuesday. So the question was never who makes me feel the most alive right now. The question was, who can I build something functional with? Who brings something real to this group? Whose family gives my family access to resources and allies we do not currently have? Love might follow from that. Often it did. But it was never the starting point, because starting from feeling and hoping function follows is a terrible way to make a decision that affects your entire community's survival. And here is the number that nobody brings up in this conversation. In many societies where marriages are arranged deliberately, where families are involved, where long-term compatibility and practical function are the primary considerations, divorce rates are significantly lower than in societies where romantic love is the main reason two people get together. Not because people are forced to stay, because the decision was never built on something as unpredictable as emotion in the first place. Your ancestors built one of the most successful social systems in the history of any species on this planet. They outlasted every other human species. They survived ice ages, famines, predators, and catastrophes we cannot fully imagine. They spread across every continent on Earth. And a significant part of how they did that was by figuring out that the most powerful thing a human being could do was create an obligation with a stranger and turn them into family. They did not need love to do that. The next time someone describes marrying for love like it is the most instinctive, natural human thing possible, you now know that for 95% of our existence on this planet, the most natural thing we ever did was the exact opposite. And by almost every measure, it worked better.